Okay, good evening, everybody, and welcome. I would really like to not be here with you. But as my friend and colleague, David Areola, reminds me, we must keep showing up together and remembering, because this is not normal. And we cannot allow this to become normal or part of our lives. This was a difficult day for many of us to wake up to. This day triggered for so many people that are here today, that are in our community, and that woke up around our nation this morning, reminding them of the worst day of their lives. And so it makes me feel better as a resident, as a father, as a husband, and as a friend that I have you alongside me. One year ago today, 17 beautiful human beings lost their lives to gun violence for absolutely no reason. Since then, another 1,200 children have lost their lives to gun violence for no reason. And I went back and watched President Obama's address to the Newtown families at their vigil back in 2012. And he laid down a challenge to us as Americans. He laid out a call to action to do something, to finally stand up and speak loudly. Yet we have not seen the changes that we all agree are necessary. So I thank the moms and the students who demand action. I thank all the people who march for their lives. We need you to hold us, your elected officials, accountable and demand that we make changes. So I pledge to all of you that your city stands behind you whenever and however we can to stand up to prevent gun violence. We will. We will put pressure on our state and federally elected officials. We will bring awareness, and we will not forget. And I keep coming back, because I must, to three things. I come back to my faith because it helps heal me and it brings me closer to you. On this day, I come back to love because it is what binds us and is what is going to allow us to move forward as a nation. And I have hope, because we cannot exist in a world where we believe that this is the way it will always be. And I'm incredibly hopeful that we together will be able to look back to the day when it came true, when never again meant something. So to all the families and the friends who are suffering from the violence perpetrated by people with guns, we stand with you. And especially to all the friends and family of the students of Marjory Stoneman Douglas High School. You are in our hearts, and we will not forget you. Thank you.
The phrase, never again, has long been a part of our history. And I think it says a lot about why we're here today. We're here today because we need to remember, we need to honor, and we need to live. It's not always easy to remember the violence. It's very difficult, but we have to. We have to remember the causes. We have to remember what took place that day so that we can ensure that we know what to do to make sure that it doesn't happen again. Honor. Honor is important. Today we honor with a tree, our beautiful earth sign of life. There are other ways that we can honor with how we speak, how we choose to remember them, and how we choose to live our lives. This tragedy changed so many lives irreversibly. And it should change all of us. It should change all of us because the shame and the pain can't keep happening. So I ask everyone that we live together and that we live for them and that we keep remembering and that we keep honoring. And that way we can make sure never again truly is never again. Thank you.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Margaret Hamer, and I am a volunteer with the local chapter of Moms Demand Action. I was a senior in high school when the Columbine massacre happened, and I remember watching that unfold on my television and thinking, what horror. I cannot believe that now, as a parent, I send my kid to school every day knowing that this is still happening. I sat at my desk last year, I watched the news coming in on CNN, I texted my friends and said, this is gonna be bad. And it was worse than I could have imagined. I've spent the day today hearing the teachers talk, hearing the students talk that survived, knowing that some of those people not only can't walk into that building anymore, they can't leave their houses anymore. This is what we're doing to our children. This is what we're doing to children in our country. I joined Moms Demand Action because I knew it was time for me to do something. My sisters and brothers in the gun violence prevention movement work hard to fight the gun lobby every day. We are so lucky that we live in a city and we live in a county where our elected officials have done everything they can legally do to try and prevent gun violence. Now it's time for our state legislators and our national legislators to join that fight. Right now we have legislation moving through the Florida House and Senate and the National House that will prevent gun violence. We can make real change. We can fight against the tide of gun violence in this country. We have that power. So while we mourn the children and the teachers and the educators that were lost in Parkland, we act in their memories to make sure it never happens again. Please call your legislators and tell them that you support universal background checks. You believe there should be criminal background checks on every gun sale. Tell them that you're tired of watching children die on your television from something that's preventable. Join us in this fight. If you're ready to join us, text READY to 64433. We want you with us. We want you marching with us. We want you going to legislatures with us. We want you calling your legislators and demanding change. Thank you.
Of course, no one can believe it has been a year since the senseless tragedy at Marjory Stoneman Douglas High School. Of course, this shooting passed with the news like every other one that has come before it, and of course there have been more incidences like what happened in Parkland after February 14th, 2018. What's changed in the past year is how many high school seniors turned 18 and can now cast their votes for gun sense candidates. how many red flag laws have been passed across the nation, the fact that the House Judiciary passed H.R. 8, which is a bill for universal background checks, which is the first major gun violence prevention legislation to pass the committee in decades, and the hearts that have been set on fire to serve their community and advocate for a safer future. What happened in Parkland is what woke me up to see the everyday injustices around us. When I got involved in my community in Gainesville, I was welcomed by a support system of older advocates, student organizations, and public officials, as I learned about my home and all the people that lived here. In time spent for community outreach and activism, I was opened up to a whole new world of people with bigger hearts than I had ever seen in anyone else, who stand up for what they believe in, work long nights and tiresome weeks, and dedicate themselves to serving others. In this fight, I've learned that we must always remember where we come from and what we've endured in this battle to keep us humble and keep us going. I met my best friend through gun violence prevention. I've made countless friends everywhere that this movement has taken me, and it means the world that all of my friends that have joined here today for this memorial planting to grow new life and to spend this day truly leading through love. Regardless of your spirituality, I invite you to listen to this encouragement found in Ecclesiastes chapter 3, verses 1 through 8 of the Bible. As Solomon explained, "For everything there is a season, a time for every activity under heaven, a time to be born and a time to die, a time to plant and a time to harvest, a time to kill and a time to heal, a time to tear down and a time to build up, a time to cry and a time to laugh, a time to grieve and a time to dance, a time to scatter stones and a time to gather stones, a time to embrace and turn away, a time to search and a time to quit searching, a time to keep and a time to throw away, a time to tear and a time to mend, a time to be quiet and a time to speak, a time to love and a time to hate, a time for war and a time for peace." My hope is that we spend more moments in life healing patiently, building bridges instead of walls, planting new seeds, dancing, laughing, embracing each other, searching for answers, mending brokenness, loving without reservation, and working together towards peace. Though this road towards harmony among us is narrow and long, may we all remember this day and the 17 loved ones who no longer have the chance to prosper and flourish with us. May we never forget, may we never give up, and may we always fight for them. May we honor their lives with action, pursuing new ways to help others, passionately spreading awareness, and by bringing people together of every background, having an open mind and a listening ear to the needs of others. May we always remember that we are not alone, that we can seek each other for help, that there is always someone willing to bear our burdens. Everything we can do in this fight is to honor the lives lost on this day 1 year ago, and to support those living in our community affected by such senseless violence. Today, we remember and honor the 17 who can no longer wake up and lead their lives as we have the liberty to. We must serve their memory through planting new life in their name, that this memorial is planted in love and with hope for a more peaceful future, and that we can breathe in the air around us and know that today we stand together. Thank you. In memory of 17 Eagles from Marjory Stoneman Douglas High School, fallen but soaring high, February 14th, 2018. Date planted, February 14th, 2019. Planted with love by Students Demand Action Gainesville and the City of Gainesville.
It is important that we remember their names so that they're never forgotten. So, Alyssa Alhadeff, Scott Beagle, Martin Duque, Nicholas Dworet, Aaron Fies, Jamie Gutenberg, Chris Hickson, Luke Hoyer, Cara Lou Graham, Gina Montalto, Joaquin Oliver, Elena Petty, Meadow Polak, Helena Ramsey, Alex Schachter, Carmen Schenstrup, and Peter Wang.